The Fourth and Goal Podcast.
That's all it is. But there's a lot of airspace to cover for Milroe. Still looking. Firing. Near corner. It's caught! Touchdown, Alabama!
Strebler dials it up. End zone! Touchdown!
They're going to snap it, and it's Trey Burton who throws caught. Foles! Touchdown!
There ain't no podcast like the Fourth and Goal Podcast. Like, hit that subscribe button and share.
And welcome to the Fourth and Goal Podcast. Here alongside Andrew Burns. Justin doesn't think that reporting sometimes is necessary. No, Justin's busy coming back late from work, and he said, "Do the show without me." So I'm gonna take Dad's advice, and we're gonna do the show without him.
Hey guys. Yeah, Justin's busy making money. Can't blame him. Times are hard.
I see that you have a clean-shaven face, Andrew.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it yet, but I just came back from the military and I have to shave for the guard. And I got a lot of less than savory comments on just having a mustache from a bunch of my fellow soldiers, so I shaved it off.
It looks good. It looks good.
Thanks, man.
All right. Are we ready to get into what happened this weekend, both in college football and the NFL?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. First things first, let's talk about your Hoosiers defeating Nebraska 56-7. Now, I was busy during the day, so I ended up having to go back and watch a lot of games. I only had to watch like 5 minutes of this game. Indiana just simply dominating Nebraska. Like, there's not too much more else to say. Taven Jackson ended up playing, and Curtis Wark is actually going to be out versus Washington from the looks of it because of his thumb injury. But he looks good. This whole Indiana team offensively looks pretty good. I will say I am not sold on Indiana's defense just because Nebraska is kind of stinky on offense. They started the year kind of hot, but Raiola is starting to look like a freshman. But I mean, still, congrats to this Indiana team and what they've been able to do. And we talked about it in our group chat today. Indiana could make the college football playoff pretty easily when talking about this team.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to like about Indiana this year, which going into the season, I don't think any of us anticipated Cignetti to get the boys rolling.
I thought they'd be
quickly.
I thought they were going to be like a bowl team, maybe go 7-5, not like 7-0. No.
Right. Like they hit what I was anticipating them to win on the season by week 7. And it's impressive. I mean, I told you guys in the group chat, Nebraska, we've known their defense is good all year. We've been saying it on this podcast all year long. They have a good defense, and it was a hot knife through butter. Even with Jackson in at quarterback, they never really took a step back. Like we know Rourke is the starter. He's the captain of this team. Even after he's a transfer from Ohio. Yeah, Ohio. And then he just took command. Like, this is his team, but Jackson stepped in. I mean, when you throw in for 91 yards on 7 passes, you're doing something right.
And he played a little bit last year, and when Indiana had like the 18 quarterback shuffle, where they were just playing guys to play guys. No, man, I seriously do like this Indiana team offensively, man. And you know what? Offense is going to win you games. My thing is, depending on what Indiana's defense is, and I know they only had 7, or they only held Nebraska to 7 points, blah, 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 blah. When they actually have to go drive for drive with teams, that's when this team concerns me.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that a little bit when they played Northwestern.
Yeah.
Northwestern's run game, I don't remember the running back's name off the top of my head, but
their quarterback played pretty solid in that game.
He did.
As well.
He did. He's kind of a check down merchant, but he was also picking apart this middle of Indiana's defense pretty good. which kind of concerns me about the safeties. But at the same time, so many teams in college play that too high safety look.
Yep.
And the middle of the field is going to be where quarterbacks can pick you apart, especially when a team runs the ball as well as Northwestern was that day. It's hard to cover the middle of the field. But I am concerned when they have to play the likes of an Ohio State.
You know what, though? I do like their pass rush and just their front seven overall. I mean, they were able to get after this Nebraska run game and not allow really Raiola to have too much time to throw it as well, which is what you want to see out of an evolution team, because that was kind of the story of especially one game that we'll get to. But no, I think Indiana is a good football team, man.
Their defense isn't going to lose them many games, but it's not going to win them many games either.
It's like if it's like if Will Howard was your whole entire defense. I'm sorry. I don't have too much respect for that guy that plays quarterback for Ohio
That's
State.
apparent.
Well, it's not that I think he's terrible. I just don't think he's particularly amazing.
I know. You've got your opinions on a bunch of Big Ten quarterbacks, and none of them are too high.
That's not true. I do have a higher opinion on Dylan Gabriel than I did coming into this season.
It's about damn time.
I don't know if you were on the show last, what was it, Wednesday? No, because you missed both shows. Well, this was on the reaction to the Oregon Ohio State game. Like, I do like Dylan Gabriel's arm. In terms of him throwing deep balls, like, it's not pretty and it's not like what NFL scouts are gonna look for. But man, if that receiver can create separation downfield, dude, he'll put it in a spot where he can get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's throwing moonshots, but
Speaking
the moonshot connects.
Speaking of two quarterbacks I'm pretty high on, Miami versus Louisville. This game was a shootout. Cam Ward, dude. If there is going to be a quarterback that wins the Heisman, it's going to be him, because no other quarterback's playing at the level that he is right now. I mean, this game was just a shootout back and forth. I think both these offenses are relatively good. Tyler Shuck, both these quarterbacks had like a significant amount of incompletions, but I think the highs that were shown in this game, I mean, look, if Louisville doesn't make some mistakes that they make in this game, it's a little bit different. But I mean, 52-45, it doesn't go your way. Miami is a really good football team, offensively, defensively. Their pass rush in this, you'll hear me, because this is what I look for most on a defense: pass rush and then coverage and then run game. Their pass rush is good. Their secondary kind of stinks. And then, I mean, they did an okay job filling in on the run game, but Louisville really didn't run the ball all that much, and Isaac Brown was able to kind of get into space a little bit and be like an effective runner. I don't know. I don't know what to make of Miami. But this is something that I mentioned in our group chat as well. Is Miami the 2023 Washington team? A team that can win in shootouts, can win in crazy fashion when things don't go their way. But they have the quarterback to do it, and they have the roster, especially on offense, to get things done. Is it crazy to say that this Miami team is what Washington was last year, aka Cam Ward is Michael Penix, and then I think the receiving room is probably a little bit more talented at Washington than what it was at Miami. But I also think you have a better running back in Damian Martinez, and you can argue the offensive line for this Miami team kind of goes underrated as well.
Yeah, I think word vomit. You made that take in the chat, and I agree. That's probably the most accurate correlation you could make. Like, every year you see a team that wins more than they should just based off a quarterback. I think you go back to 21 and Pitt is a pretty good connection to that.
with Kenny Pickett and Jordan Addison was also
right, but that's a quarterback receiver connection, and beyond that, their team didn't have much. They had draft picks on that team. Don't get me wrong; they were still
even 2020 TC or 2022 TCU. I mean, you have Kendre Miller in the backfield. You got Quentin Johnson on the outside. You have a couple guys on defense like D. Winters and Josh Newton. Like your team's not complete, and that's why you got killed by Georgia, a team that was complete that season. But like you have dudes that are going to always keep you in ball games. That's definite. Yeah. I mean, Miami's just one of those teams where they just got a few dudes and they're going to run with them as far as they can. And I
do want to say on Miami's portion, what the hell's happened? What's going on with Simeon Barrow on that defensive line? Like, they should be built to stop the run better than they do. Like, I know Barrow isn't any first-round draft pick, but he's still I'm Big Ten.
I didn't really see Barrow. Like, Barrow didn't impress me at State, and I think he was a little bit overrated as a transfer. Like, I thought Harmon was legit.
Oh, Harmon's a first-round draft pick. Yeah, he was last year, too.
Yeah, but Barrow, like, I never really thought he was anything special.
I did think he always kind of underperformed, but I just think he went to Miami. There's already talent there.
Sperani.
I'm just singling him out because I watched him at State, but that team has so much talent in the defensive line. They should be able to stop the run better than they do.
Well, they've always had the talent, Andrew.
I know they have. It's Miami. They always get the guys, but
I just think the difference is, it's the difference between having like Derek King or I don't know. They had a quarterback frenzy. They had Tyler Van Dyke the last couple of years. That's right.
Yeah. Shout out Wisconsin.
Hey man, they're not looking as bad as they did in the beginning.
No, the era is kind of coming together up there.
Well, they're playing Braden Locke too. So that also probably
didn't Van Dyke go down with an injury?
Yeah, against Bama. It's Braden Locke right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I don't know. I think like Miami, like their schedule's pretty favorable. I mean, you got Florida State. That game will be a piece of cake. Duke, Georgia Tech, Wake Forest, and then Syracuse. Like, Syracuse could put some points up on you, but that's really about. I mean, unless you think Duke's like a good football team, I don't know. They're 6-1.
Not yet.
They're 6-1, but
I think Syracuse again. The Cuse game will be interesting. I just don't think they'll be able to run the ball at all very well.
No.
And Miami will probably know that, and just
if Haynes King is healthy, maybe Georgia Tech gives them a little bit of a push. But like, they should be undefeated. Yeah, they should be undefeated going into ACC championship, in my opinion.
I do also. You mentioned Florida State. I just want to throw this out there. We're doing never before seen times of two of the top 5 teams last year absolutely suck.
In Florida State.
In Michigan and Florida State.
Washington kind of stinks too.
And Washington, 3 of the top 4 teams. And Bama and Georgia aren't any hot shakes either.
Bama might stink. No, I'm just kidding.
What's actually all but Georgia.
Yeah. And is Georgia? I know they won, but I'm still.
All but Georgia and Texas. Well, the rest of like the top 8 all suck.
Well, you perfectly segue into Alabama and Tennessee.
There you
go. God. This was a battle of who wants to lose a little bit less than the other team. This started out really slow. I will say Dylan Sampson's a really nice running back for Tennessee, and Alabama not being able to have a run game really kills it because Jalen Milroe needs things open for him. Okay. He's not, we made the comparison to like Jaden Daniels and whatever. That was more on the career trajectory. The thing that was difference between actually probably the receiving room at LSU compared to Alabama. And maybe not even that much different because Ryan Williams is going to be a first round pick. Jeremy Bernard will get drafted. This Alabama team's just kind of kind of underperforming. And I think Tennessee should have beat Bama by more if Nico didn't overthrow so many deep passes.
Yeah, talk about just two quarterbacks that we think should be better that just did not perform.
I also don't think the Tennessee receivers are particularly amazing either.
No, like neither of these teams are the incredible receivers. Like this isn't 22 Tennessee. They're not throwing to Jalen Hyatt and
Cedric Tillman and
Yeah.
Squirrel White, which I don't think played. Did he? I don't think he played in this game. From what I
no, he did not.
So
unless he didn't get a target, he did not.
I mean, I know their receiving room has been hurt, but I just don't think either of these teams particularly like played that well. I think both these I'll say the front seven for Bama is good. And then I think this Tennessee defense is legit and it'll win them some games. But I mean, like, dude, Tennessee lost to fucking Arkansas and barely beat a Florida team that they should have killed, and they didn't. Yeah. I'm not convinced that like either of these teams are like college football playoff good. I'm gonna come out and say it. I don't think like I know Tennessee moves up in the rankings because they beat Bama. Like, dude, I think Tennessee could drop it to Kentucky next week. Like,
yeah, I think
they could lose 2 more games on their season.
Yeah, both these teams are 100% pretenders. But this is I want to bring this back in a couple segments or at the end of the segment when I have 2 teams I want to just mention, but I doubt we're going to talk about their actual games because they were absolute blowouts for both these teams. But I think Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, we're seeing it with Ole Miss in the opposite direction a little bit. But these are teams that are losing now. We're seeing the negative effects of NIL and the transfer portal. Like these are both teams that with the amount of talent they have, like they benefited bringing in all this talent with NIL, but now the transfer portal on top of that, gone. As soon as they're not seeing the playing time that they would have wanted. Hell, Jeremy Bernard is an Alabama fantastic example. He got the bag to go to decommit from Washington, went to MSU, goes back to Washington when Mel Tucker sucks, and then follows to Alabama. He's a fantastic example of this particularly.
Yeah, and what I'll say is that these teams are not, because injuries happen. You're not going to see the depth that there was pre-NIL, pre-crazy transfer portal shenanigans, where Georgia's 2 at linebacker or at defensive tackle or wherever. I mean, you saw with their quarterback position in Brock Vandagriff, he's not going to sit on the bench. He's going to go play somewhere, and someone's going to pay him. Alabama's corners, well, maybe not this year, but like in a traditional, Alabama secondary, they're not going to sit there and wait. They're going to go somewhere else so they can get paid and play.
Yeah. Like we saw these teams, like, yeah, you said exactly. Second B tier teams, C tier teams, like we're Spartan fans. Amir Speed, I'm just throw him out there. Second backup at Georgia 3 years ago, comes to MSU.
I mean, look at Ed Wood. Like Ed Woods is a guy that played for Michigan State. He wasn't.
Ed Woods was the number 1 cornerback at Arizona State. Let's be honest here.
Yeah. But like what I'm saying is like these guys, and it's also just going to be super opportunity based as well. Like what's that defensive end that we got from Texas A&M 2 years ago?
TMWow.
Yeah, or
I don't know how to say his name. He's got a complicated name.
Yeah. That's why
it's Tuise Tuimilau. Yeah, Tuise, something like that.
Like, I'm just saying there's going to be guys from these big schools, and not to say that Michigan State's like a bottom tier or like not.
No, but they were going out.
But we're not a powerhouse, okay? We're not going to get like these guys are going to go play at different places, and guess what? Look at Vanderbilt this year. They had a lot of transfer portal exodus. They bring in Diego Pavia and a lot of group of 5 talent on this team. And dude, they're 5-2, ranked in the top 25. Like, there's just going to be, first of all, way more crazier seasons from random teams, and also just a lot more parity. And no one's going to be as good, especially as it gets later in the season, just because of the battle of attrition that is the sport of football. I mean, we see it across all leagues. and just the best depth's going to rise to the top. And sometimes you're going to go pay for depth out of the portal or pay a guy to stay. But some guys are going to get a bigger bag to go start somewhere else. So it's all a really complicated process, and it doesn't help that head coaches leave like crazy. Did you see the ECU head coach Houston get fired? I think
No,
we
I
should
didn't.
mention that.
Really?
Yeah. First head coach firing of the year comes in week 8. Army beats East Carolina 45-28, and I know Caden Houser made the start. I don't think that really impacted anything. But I want to say his name was Mike Houston.
I think so.
You
brought up, so that's actually a perfect segue now. You brought up Army just in that game, but I want to connect Army. There's 3 teams that I want to connect to this NIL transfer portal topic: Army, Navy, and Air Force. 3 teams that aren't allowed to use NIL in the transfer portal. And we're seeing it this year. Army and Navy have probably the best teams in the country. Like overall team, you look at every team, how they play together, their penalization percentage. They are the most probably physically, mentally sound football teams in the country. Usually Army and Navy are, because they're soldiers. They don't make mistakes as much. But at the same time, it's these guys you're seeing the seniors, been there for 4 years. How many teams can you say the guys they recruited in 2020 are all still on the roster 2024?
I can think of one team.
Who?
Clemson.
Oh, fair enough. Okay.
Well, they do have
group
guys
Clemson in with Army, Navy, and Air Force. Then. They're a service
Clemson,
academy now.
I mean, no. To be fair, though, I mean, Clemson obviously uses NIL, but dude, they look better and better every single week, man, and they got a lot of young talent out there. But
they're making me eat my words from the beginning of the season. I shat on them pretty good after week 3.
Yeah. Clemson's a good football team, man.
Yeah, I just wanted to get the NIL point out there, where it's like we might see Army and Navy not every year, but every 2-3 years, they're just gonna pop up and be dominant.
Yeah, it's like what they were in NCAA football 14. If you got like 10 years into a dynasty, dude, they became like powerhouses, and it was really annoying to play them.
I dropped 72-0 on my buddy with Army in NCAA 24. Okay. It was kind of he didn't know how to stop the option. I felt kind of bad, but I just kept speed optioning to the right. Whatever hash I was on, speed option to the opposite hash.
Forget how to run an option in that game sometimes.
It doesn't work sometimes. Either way, we're getting sidebarred. Next game.
All right, let's talk about Georgia, Texas, because I got a couple points I want to make about this game. Texas, your offensive line kind of stunk. You couldn't run the ball. You really didn't get time for Quinn Ewers to pass the ball. And you thought throwing Arch Manning in there was like the problem. I don't think Quinn Ewers was the problem in this game. I think it was offensive line not being able to get time, which is going to happen against the defense that has like 4 first-round pick. Not 4, but like Michael Williams is obviously a star. Jalen Walker is a guy that everybody knows. Nazir Stackhouse has been a man in the middle for this defense for some time now. I mean, this team is just different on the defensive side more years than not. I mean, we remember those 21 and 22 teams. I don't think they had a lot of difference makers, but their team was pretty young last season when it came to the defense. And like this year, dude, Bama hit some. Kalen DeBoer is going to scheme up plays open more times than not. And I think Tennessee was just kind of an outlier. But offensively for Georgia, man, Carson Beck, dude.
I have been so unimpressed with Carson Beck all season.
And it sucks.
First of all, he looks like Timmy from South Park. Second of all, which I can't get that image out of my head. And then second, like, I mean, I kind of see it. Yeah, so first off, there's his first mark. And then also I just feel like he's not a good decision maker. He doesn't wait for plays to develop, and he just checks. Like he I don't know. He's just unimpressive to me.
See, but in 23, I thought he would have been the first quarterback taken off the board if he went in that draft, or one of the first quarterbacks, like a first round QBs. I mean, at the beginning of the season, he looked great. I
This
don't
isn't the same
know.
guy.
Well, and how much controversy? I mean, he's lost 2 receivers this year. That
True.
both could have been difference makers, and Ra Thomas and Colby Young. I mean, like his best player is Trevor Etienne, outside of him, and Trevor Etienne's a phenomenal running back. He's played really
Mhm.
well lately. But I mean, dude, like Dominic Lovett and Arian Smith can't be your top targets in big games. And if you're gonna win big time games, like that's what you need a Colby Young or a Ra Thomas for. Like Colby Young was a great 50-50 guy that Carson Beck, if he throws it up to him, hey, it's either gonna be an overthrown pass or it's gonna be a big completion or just a pass breakup. Like he's got to fit it into more tight windows now because he doesn't have a big body receiver. It's going to be consistent. And Oscar Delp is not a great pass catcher. Like he's all right. He's a great blocker. But he ain't Brock Bowers. And I also think that what's his face? Not Mike Bobo. I don't think he's a great play caller. When
Yeah,
it comes
I
to
agree.
George's offense. Like the difference between him and Tom Lumpkin, who now calls plays for the Baltimore Ravens, like it's a pretty significant difference what George's offense looks like because he made Stetson Bennett look like a pretty damn good quarterback. I know there's
Yeah,
other
he
weapons on that offense, but like, I mean, I haven't been impressed with George's offense. And I mean, I never really have been, but they could scheme a lot more stuff open than they can now.
Right.
When they had them.
Sorry about that. I do want to just say, I don't think I know. A lot of this game, I know Texas did not play very well at all. Like it was a all overall pretty poor performance for Texas in a game where we were anticipating another Oregon, Ohio State potentially. But it does have to be. It does have to.
The damn turnovers. What
Yeah,
the hell?
that's what I was getting to. It does have to be mentioned. 3 lost fumbles, which what is the homage? It's a turnover is worth 5 points.
Yeah, I mean,
so take 15
too.
points off. Take 20, not 15 points. Take 20 points off of Georgia's score.
Georgia had 3 interceptions themselves. So
right.
But what I'll say is Georgia had they had an 89-yard touchdown drive. The rest of their scoring possessions, whether it came to field goals or touchdowns, they were less than 50 yards. That's not repeatable.
No.
If you're going to play in Oregon, you're going to play in Ohio State, you're going to play a team that take care. If you play Miami, it's probably repeatable.
You're going to play Indiana.
I don't know about that either.
Indiana scoring on every drive.
Well, I'm just saying, but like a team that's not going to turn the ball over, and Texas hasn't really been a turnover friendly team, so I guess it was kind of a surprise. Yeah. But it's just that's not repeatable success. It's not like this game. Sure, first of all, should have hit the over, and I
saw you made that bet, and I don't think I said it to you. I was just like, that's a scary bet.
Well, it's just all big games are. All big games so far this year, have hit the over. Texas, Michigan hit the over. Oregon,
I'm just thinking
State
2 good defenses clashing.
See, I'll be honest.
And offenses that have been unimpressive the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, but I really wasn't impressed with. Going into this game, I wasn't impressed with either of these defenses either. To be completely honest with you, so or at least more Georgia's than Texas's, but I think I think if this game's played again, dude, I don't know how repeatable Georgia forcing 4 turnovers and getting a bunch of possessions inside of Texas territory is repeatable. I think they probably still win. I just don't think it's as big of a margin.
I also think if this game's played again, Texas's offensive line does not struggle as much as they do. That's a very experienced group, and they probably aren't going to take too kindly to being hoed out like they were over the weekend.
All right. We're not here to clown Justin about this game. But Illinois, the Fighting Illini.
And the dopest moments of the season so far.
Dope is probably just the best uniforms so far this season. Other than I think FIU's worn those Vice uniforms. I know we don't care about FIU, but like whenever they do their Vice field and the Vice uniforms, dude, it's freaking sick.
That's true.
Yeah, Michigan, dude. Oh my gosh.
What do we say about Michigan except they don't have a quarterback? Their offense is anemic. The defense,
Well, they lose
don't know.
Will Johnson for the rest of the year. Whether he's going to be healthy coming back at the end of the year or not, he ain't coming
Dude,
back.
Will Johnson didn't matter. Like,
No, I mean Illinois didn't even really play that good in this game.
no. This was two little kids slapping each other back and forth.
Here's my thing. Michigan, they lose Jim Harbaugh. They lose, and this is what all their fans say. Lose Jim Harbaugh. We lost all these coordinators. We lost 10 guys on offense. We lost our whole offensive line, our quarterback, whatever, running backs. We lost Roby Wilson, Cornelius Johnson. Guess what? You knew you lost all those guys, and you guys acted like it was fine that you didn't replace all these guys, right? You didn't go get a transfer quarterback. You didn't go get transfer talent at the receiver position. You didn't get transfer people on the defense because outside of Will Johnson, your secondary stinks, and you lost Keon Sabb. I mean, your defensive line and linebackers are good, and that's fine, but you can't have 7 out of 22 positions be that's it. Like, your quarterback position stinks. Your running back, like Mullins is a good running back, but Edwards is Edwards. Loveland's good, but like your receivers stink. Most of your offensive line isn't very good. You got pushed around by Illinois. Okay, Illinois. Yeah, I mean, when you just act like, oh, we won the national championship, which, we'll see if you guys keep that. No, I mean, you guys deserve to keep it. You were the best team last year with or without Connor Stallions. But yeah, I don't know. Michigan just acted like they had no problems, and they do, and they clearly do. But they rode the high of the national championship instead of rebuilding to be better. And that's just it. And I'm sorry going on a tangent, but like, seriously, y'all had problems. You just didn't choose to address them.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think the biggest concern is either players look like they don't really want to be there. And then also, where's all this talent that we heard? Don't worry, we lost a lot of players. We're still a deep team. You've had back-to-back top 20 recruiting classes, which is way lower than they should have been after back-to-back college football playoff appearances.
I mean,
they should have been reeling in top 10 recruiting classes.
Academically speaking, it's hard to get into Michigan, and you're not going to get like.
Dude, the GPA to get into Michigan for a football player is a 2.5.
Well,
that excuse is bullshit. Don't let anyone ever tell you that. If it's Northwestern, one of the like Ivy Leagues, Vandy, sure, or maybe Stanford, you can get away with it. Michigan's standard is 0.5 GPA higher than the average across the country.
Well, I mean, some recruits probably just okay.
They're football players, we know, but also, what the fuck?
No, I will agree. Michigan, and I'll be honest, I don't think their NIL collectives that particularly amazing either. Which is
that's Harbaugh's fault,
right? But here's my hot take. I think I know you tried to keep continuity and everything on your team. Sharon Moore coached 3 games and was your offense coordinator for 2 years.
6 games?
No, because they went with a different interim before him.
You're right. His dad was the interim for the 1 game.
Yeah. So my thing with this is I don't think Michigan made necessarily the right choice at head coach. I said this back in January. I understand why you made the move, but they needed to get someone with experience running a football program. They needed someone that they could I know as much as Justin hates this guy, but like a Brian Kelly, like Notre Dame and Michigan, like in terms of like program styles, like you don't get the elite of recruiting classes, but you get good enough talent to develop, and you're going to get hard, strong-nosed kids that want to play in the North.
Yeah, you're still getting your blue chips.
Yeah, you need to be able to develop talent, and if you can do that and be a solid football coach, you win football games and go compete at the highest level. Like I know Sharon Moore is a big players guy, but dude, it's hard to know what to do when you haven't done it before. And Michigan needs a guy that's kind of done it before.
I think he might be a fall guy. Like, do you think? I'm forgetting.
Yeah,
I'm forgetting that the AD's name at Ward.
Manuel.
Ward Manuel. You think Ward Manuel knew the cabinet was kind of bare going into this season, after all the coaches that got poached? So then he just said, Sharon, I'm giving you the keys, but your contract's locked in my desk until halfway through the season. So don't even ask about it.
I don't know. I
don't
don't know.
Coached half the season, not even under contract.
Yeah. Man, I don't really know what I think about this Michigan team. Like, I don't know what the future is. I know they're going to say, oh, we're going to go spend so much money on a quarterback. Dude, your problems are way bigger than your QB.
The problems go deep.
I just yes, obviously the quarterback's the most important position, dude. When you don't got receivers and you're going to lose Colston Loveland next year, you need to spend about $1 million if you want some difference makers at receiver.
I mean, we see you go 50 miles up the road in East Lansing. Aiden Childs is making 6 figures, and he ain't no great shakes at quarterback right now either. Sure, he's got pro potential. He's making good passes, but the dude's got a 8 to 6 touchdown turnover percentage.
Well, I also think that he's a good quarterback. He just forces way too much stuff, and
I agree. I'm a huge Childs fan, but he's making 6 figures. Your point stands. They're gonna have to throw out stupid money to even get this team competitive next year.
I think if you want to because I think that goes underrated is dude, these Michigan receivers and quarterback pretty good. And their offensive line was really good too.
Mm-hmm.
So they lost a lot of talent on offense, man, and they didn't really rebuild it how they thought they would with the guys behind. I think they bought into this Alex Orgy is going to be the next greatest thing. But
they thought they had another Denard Robinson, and where's Denard now? Not coaching on the team anymore.
Yeah.
Became a running back in Jacksonville, which actually in Madden 2015, he was actually a pretty fun guy to throw at quarterback.
Yeah. Some other games that I just want to hit across the board quickly. LSU, dude. It's a football team.
It is a football team. That is correct.
No, but dude, I mean, Arkansas, they obviously caught Tennessee this year, and they've been relatively solid. And LSU just handled business against them. Only allowed 10 points. I mean, Nussmeier did his job. Caden Durham looks like it could be a running back that could actually, help this team. CJ Daniels comes back and is their leading receiver. Nuss does throw the occasional one or two, I try to fit in a really tight window and let my receiver make a play, but he doesn't realize he doesn't have Malik Nurse and Brian Thomas. Not that Kyron Lacey or CJ Daniels and Aaron Anderson, actually, I'm pretty sure got hurt in this game. So rest up soon to him, and hopefully he comes back healthy and recovers quickly. But I just want to say, dude, LSU, this might be a little overreactionary, but they might be the best team in the SEC. They have a 7.
I think that's a little overreactionary, but they do have the biggest balls in the SEC at quarterback.
Yeah. Well, and yes, obviously lose to USC. I mean, USC's lost some games, but dude, they're competitive in every single one they've lost. It's not like they're getting killed.
USC is also suffering from new Big Ten team syndrome.
Yeah, I'm going to really be. Oh,
week.
Wow. Well, I know what game we'll put on another TV when. Oh yeah. By the way, guys, this Saturday, Michigan State game's happening. Me and Andrew are going to be obviously decked out in some MSU gear. Meanwhile, Justin's going to be the Michigan homer. And then when Michigan State wins, we'll do a live episode that day. We're going to live stream the whole game, and then we'll end up doing a little bit of reaction pod at the end of the day, being able to talk about the games along with other games that happened as well. And just, it's going to be a really fun day. Andrew is probably going to be naked half the time, so maybe we'll have to move to a different streaming site. But no, I'm just kidding. But no.
I might be MSU ones. I might be a little too drunk to record, but we're gonna record anyway, and it's gonna be fucking hilarious.
Hey, if they, all I know is they better bust out the flea flicker in that game. That's all.
Oh, I mean, dude, I was watching some 2021 Flea Flicker highlights the other day. A compilation of them.
Of course you were.
It popped up on TikTok, and it was MSU ran the Flea Flicker 18 times across the season, and I was like, "What the hell?"
Dude, oh my god! So funny story. So I went to that snow game against Penn State and Michigan State in 2021, and dude, there's just these absolute drunk kids behind me, and they're like, I'm with my dad, and he's like, and they're just like, run the flea flicker, which would be pretty crazy if they watch the podcast now. But they were just like, run the flea flicker. And by the way, that was the last game that Kate and I have ever played in college. So pretty cool.
That was a good game too. Wasn't that his last game healthy? Yeah, it was.
Yeah, well, his last game in college.
Yeah. Jay Johnson, the flea flicker is not a trick play for him. The flea flicker is just another pass play.
It is a design play. Like it is in
it
the
is
scheme.
It is a cornerstone of the Jay Johnson offense. Actually, can I Google how many times Wyoming's run the flea flicker this year?
I don't know. I guess. Couple more things. BYU and Iowa State squeak out some wins. I like to see a team that can squeak out close games, but especially on the Iowa State side, you can't play UCF with Ja'Cory Brown at quarterback. I know RJ Harvey's an elite running back talent, and I think that Iowa State might have gotten a reality check this game. But both those teams have some stuff to watch in the film room. What else? This is the unscripted part of the college football segment. Oh, do you see South Carolina?
No, I didn't.
They dominated Oklahoma 35-9. They ended up playing Jackson Arnold. He didn't look bad, but man, dude, Oklahoma's just got to hope that everything's rebuilt and like they actually have receivers next year. That team's just dead in the water, man. And it sucks because I like Oklahoma and I love Jackson Arnold. I'm a big Jackson Arnold guy. But did you see the craziness in that Eastern Central game?
In the what game?
No, because Eastern Michigan, Central Michigan.
No, but I do know that Central Michigan fans are calling for McElwain's head right now.
It ended up becoming like it came down to some craziness in that game.
I am a Bronco, so fuck the chips, but that's my TED talk. I'm okay with them losing.
I watched Baylor and Texas Tech, dude. Baylor might make a backdoor comeback for a bowl game. Oklahoma State, TCU, West Virginia, Houston, and Kansas left on the schedule. You only got to win 3 of them. They look really good with Sawyer Robertson and Dave Aranda taking over the defensive play calling there. Colorado looks like a fucking football team, man. Can we talk about that? I said it last week. I'm going to say it again, dude. Like, I don't think they'll make the playoff, but, well, they could go 10-2. Cincinnati, Texas Tech, Utah ain't the team that it was at one point. They actually just lost to TCU. Kansas and Oklahoma State, like Texas Tech and Cincinnati are going to be tough games, but man, Colorado's rolling right now, man. I really like where the state of that program is, and I'm happy to see that like they're actually having success and like winning football games there because something they couldn't do before.
Hey, Justin's not here. We can praise Colorado.
That is true.
I think they finally figured out that they actually have to play the game of football. They can't just look cool. And they
well, dude, they're not offensively, they're not physical, but defensively, man, dude, holy.
Yeah, that's what I like. I think it's Rashad Mayo, the Patriots head coach. He called his team soft. Gerard Mayo. He called the Patriots soft on Tuesday or Monday. That's not a thing you can call this Colorado defense. For once under Coach Prime, this is not a soft defense.
Let's also say that Billy Napier probably won't get fired. Florida's at a winning record right now. They beat Kentucky by 28 points. I mean, dude, they're rolling with Lagway right now. And
Yeah,
it's
he's a
working.
good QB, but
I mean,
what
they're
the
pretty
hell?
close to be. They could be 5-2 if that Tennessee game goes a little bit differently. Like your
Mhm.
losses are to Tennessee, Texas A&M, and Miami. Like those are all three like top 15 teams. But well, okay. You want to hear the stretch though
Yeah,
that they have? Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, and then Florida State. But so they might
that's
only get one
four
or
losses.
but well, they could sneak an upset somewhere.
Well, no, they do
They
it.
could,
It's
they could,
if
they,
any game in
they,
the swamp
they
is going to be they have a
yeah.
chance. That is a true home field advantage. I know you guys gave me shit about Texas A&M's home field advantage, but the swamp is a legitimate home field
No,
advantage.
it is. Clemson, they like dominated Virginia, but they didn't. It was weird. But man, dude, I'm gonna keep writing this. Clemson's became kind of like my pet team this year. I know they lost to Georgia pretty bad early in the season, dude, but I mean they've just been handling business. They do play Louisville after this bye week though, so Louisville is a football team.
That will,
If you
as you've seen, that'll be an interesting game.
I think it'll be kind of like a good, like, it'll be good to see where they're at because I said this after I want to say they played their third game of this season. I said that Clemson is going to be a team that just continues to prove throughout the year with the young talent that they have. And the more they get comfortable with each other and more either used to on the fly play calling and running tempo, this will be a good testament to see where Clemson is at as a program.
Right. Because at the end of the day, Jimbo's going, he does know what he's doing. Even if he doesn't want to embrace modern football, he knows what he's doing. He can get guys will get
He's
better.
won 2 damn national championships.
Yeah,
like
he's one of the best developmental head coaches in the country.
Has Dan Lanning won a national championship? Fuck no. I don't think most head coaches right now have won a national championship recently. So I want Kirby, and then that's it that I can think of. I bet there is someone. I'm just not. It's not coming to my head.
Oh no!
Well, yeah, because Jimbo
yeah.
got fired. Too,
doesn't Chip Kelly have an Natty too?
No, I don't think Oregon ever won it.
No, he got close though.
Well, he may, yeah, and then Cardell Jones became the greatest player ever to exist, and he got Cam Newton.
That stretch for Ohio State was such bullshit.
That was great. That was crazy. You say
Braxton Miller goes down. JT Barrett goes down. Cardell Jones. It's okay, guys. Don't worry.
That's like when I started watching college football. So you were unlocking a whole lot of memories. Mike Conley with the 3 missed, but Lakers are winning by 13 right now.
Dude, that was my favorite era of college football. Maybe because MSU was a nationally dominant, I
think my favorite year was when Saquon was just absolutely destroying every single defense. Like,
you know what?
That's the last time we've had. What?
You know what defense he didn't destroy that year?
Michigan State.
You know how many rush yards Saquon had in that game against? I'm pretty sure it's 2014. How many rush yards Saquon had against Michigan State?
No, Saquon wasn't 2014
or 2015. No, was it 17? It was 17.
I think it was 17. Yeah.
You know how many rush yards Saquon had that year?
No.
-22. That's
all right. Well,
that was the rain delay game in East Lansing.
Yeah, I was really young then, so I wasn't really young.
No, you weren't that young in 2013. You were what? 12? 2017. Sorry, 2017. You were 12.
Yeah, I was about 12. Yeah.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. I was a freshman in high school. That tracks. Wait, how old were you for the Rose Bowl? 2013.
2013. I was 8 years old.
So you don't remember the Rose Bowl?
I remember, dude. That's when we had Connor Cook, right? Well, no, it was
Connor
Maxwell.
Cook's first year. No, Maxwell started and Connor Cook came in.
Okay.
I remember being at games and hearing the boos of Connor Cook. to calling for Connor Cook.
All
in
right,
the
we're
Blues
totally
against
getting off
Jacksonville.
track. Let's get to the NFL.
Sorry, I have such good memories about those 13 to 15 Spartan teams.
We're not the Locked On Spartans podcast. Okay.
I wish I don't want to be Matt Sheehan, but I wish I could just sit here and talk about those teams.
Yeah.
Reminisce.
Well, that's what the off season's for.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's when we get to look back and feel bad.
Yeah. First game of business. Lions Vikings. This is a good football game. Jameer Gibbs played really well with Monroe St. Brown. The absence of Aiden Hutchinson was kind of missed from the pass rush in this game a little bit. They ended up getting home a lot more late in the game, but like we didn't get our first sack till near the end of the third quarter.
It was the end of the third quarter, and the line. I think it gets a little covered up. It gets a little covered up because they finished with 4 sacks. The Lions were blitzing 60% of the time.
Yeah.
And it took them 3 quarters to get home. And under Hutch, they blitzed 20% of the time.
Right. Yeah. And they need to go get some sort of pass rusher, whether it's Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, whoever. If they want to win the Super Bowl, we don't need picks right now. And
F them picks.
And if you look at it, you can still get second and third round picks,
our picks the Lions picks the next 3 years are going to be 28 to 32.
Right.
So it doesn't really matter. They're going to be second round picks anyway.
Did D'Lo just airball the 3? I could go play in the NBA right now.
I also, it's kind of sad. The last game Hutch finished, so the Seahawks game, he had 15 pressures on his own. Yep. You know how many pressures the Lions got on this weekend against the Vikings total?
9.
15.
Okay.
So Hutch accounted for the entirety of the defensive line's pressures.
I think the Minnesota offensive line is a little bit better than Seattle.
So it is. Seattle is piecemealing together their offensive line. But it's not. It's still a stat to look at.
Yeah.
Hutch was the entirety of the pressure the defensive line got against Minnesota.
Dude, and Minnesota was running the ball on us too. I mean, we didn't get a TFL outside of a sack, which is kind of concerning and something you don't.
Hutchinson's presence in the run defense is also very undervalued.
So it team scares me a little bit, but I also. It's also their first full game without him. So obviously there's going to be some screws that you need to drive in, but
in my brain, they have 2 weeks to figure out who they're going to bring in. Well, actually they have 2 weeks to figure out who they're going to bring in because the trade deadline is November 5th, but they have 2 weeks to figure it out. The Titans this weekend don't scare me at all. The Titans could score 20 points and they'll still lose by more than 2 scores.
Yeah, I don't. Will Levis ran offense ain't good.
Right, this weekend doesn't matter. But in this week or next week, we need to either hear rumors or a definitive trade is going to happen.
Yeah, and we'll see. I know Hassan Reddick just worked out his deal, so it's probably not going to be him.
I did not want Hassan Reddick.
I think he's just not a plus in the run game, which we kind of also need. Like Hutchinson, like he could play inside or out. It's not like I think Crosby's like a perfect comparison to him as a guy, but I don't want the same 2 dudes on the edge at the same time next year. Which I think Garrett, who's a little bit more just like versatile in my opinion, and in terms around more athletic than probably any other defensive end in the league.
I want Crosby really bad.
I
just think I agree. Garrett's my 1B, but imagine next year when Hutch comes back after we've been told.
You hear something crazy. Anthony Edwards said he'll come play football. He's got the size to be an edge if he puts on some more weight.
Let's go find Ndamukong Suh.
No, he's definitely
Do you think he slimmed down since he was retired and just throw Sue on the
Definitely didn't get
defensive back
fast. He
spot?
definitely did not get faster. That's for sure.
Yeah.
He
He said he wanted to be a Lion last year. He wanted to come back for the playoff run.
I don't know if that. I mean, I guess he could have been on the roster, but
He would have helped against San Fran.
I don't really think so personally.
No, he's just a big body. We were just struggling to stop the run.
So if we wanted to do that, we could find the people from My 500-Pound Life and go throw them in the middle.
All right, next game. We're getting caught up in the Lions.
Ravens Buccaneers. This was actually a pretty good game last night, dude. Lamar continues to show why he should be the MVP. Derrick Henry dominates on the ground. It was really just one big run. But in the second half, especially after not getting too much touches in the first half, he was able to just kind of close the game out for the Ravens. Both Mike Evans and Chris Godwin go down in this game, which is scary for this Tampa Bay receiving core. But hey, they're supposed to be in the talks for Cooper Kupp, so it'll be an interesting receiving combo when everyone gets healthy there, and kind of scary with Mayfield as the quarterback. I think their bigger problem is they don't really have too much of a run game. But I mean, if you can pass the ball over everyone, who gives a damn? Yeah, I mean, Rashad Bateman looked well in the receiving game, but I think the Ravens, they might be my favorite team to watch and kind of like my favorite in the AFC. I know the Chiefs somehow continue to win, but I think the Ravens are my favorite in the AFC right now.
Yeah, I agree. I do. I did have one question, so I missed the play. How did Tyler Lindenbaum fumble?
I don't remember necessarily.
How the hell does an offensive lineman fumble the football?
I wasn't watching this game all the way through. I was mainly watching. I was in and out of this game. I've been sick the past few days, so my attention.
Full disclosure, I was at a bar for this game, so I wasn't really watching. But
I
was playing cool.
Yeah, well, that's fair. No, I mean, I watch most of the impactful plays, and I go back and try to watch as much recaps as possible, especially when our program director, Justin Pollington, puts the script together that we don't really follow.
Especially when it's us. We just say fuck it, and we rip it in half. And
I think it's just more organic content when it's just us just talking about what we want to talk about.
Yeah, but we wouldn't have gotten my my Army, Navy, Air Force rant.
You wouldn't have heard about me talking crap about Michigan the way I did. No, man.
Yeah, without our resident Walmart Wolverine, we can't really talk that much shit.
Well, because he's just like, well, blah, we won a national championship. No, Justin's actually a pretty realistic Michigan fan for the most part.
He is. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I think
we're pretty realistic State fans. We know our team blows.
You're either like here or like here with Michigan State, like either super
because they keep
high.
giving me optimism, and then they keep taking it away from me.
You know what? They looked good against Iowa. That's all.
They did.
Like I know Iowa isn't much of an offense, but dude, I mean, they put 40 up on Washington, and like they found ways to score this year, and being able to contain Caleb Johnson kind of gives me some hope.
Hey, by the transitive property, Michigan State will beat Michigan this weekend because Michigan State beat Iowa. Iowa beat Washington when Washington beat Michigan.
We'll break that game down. I'm not going to give out any predictions. My FanDuel will kind of show me my thoughts. I'll probably just hammer. I'll probably hammer the
dude. My bets are already made. I bet this game before the season started.
I gotta put more money into the account this weekend and not go over.
Dude, if this weekend, if my two bets that I have on State,
I had some
the Michigan State game hit.
My problem with that is I just parlay too much. That's my problem. If I just let the single game, if I just bet every game single game, I'd be up money right now.
That was my biggest learning curve this year. I kept putting parlays together of games I was confident in, and then you get fucked on one leg.
I just need Julius Randle to score some damn points. And LeBron.
Dude, I've got Michigan State plus 22.
Oh, because
And
you bet
then
that early in the year. Yeah.
and then I've got Michigan State money line plus 1,400.
Yeah, I'll have to. We'll do the best bets segment again because I think that went really well. Which I went 1 for 4 and Justin went 2 for 3. So maybe don't listen to us, but I'm gonna take a really deep look into it because last time I just put together like my bets like last lot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna really sit down tomorrow and go through and be like, yeah. And you'll get the 4th and goal poll tomorrow, guys. By the way, sorry, I've literally been like spending like my whole day in my bed the past 2 days. So. I
Give the kid a break. He's sick and he's still working.
I deal with the well, it didn't help that I had to call 5 soccer games this weekend, and do sideline reporting Friday night. So and then I think just being around so many people and being outside and the weather constantly changing. I don't deal well with weather changes. Like I'm always sick around this time and then in April, so it'll be
That's when, as a kid, my asthma would get really bad around this time.
I get super fucking sick and it stinks. But anyways, okay. Let's
Speaking
recap.
of super fucking sick,
The Chiefs won another football game. No.
how? I don't know how, but they do.
Oh, you were gonna make a Debo Samuel reference. That's terrible.
Also, the Jets get Devontae Adams. And it doesn't matter. They still suck.
That team's more than receiver problem.
Also, Russ is not cooked.
No, Russ
cooked.
Russ was
cooked
great in the second half. In the second half of the season for the Broncos last year.
Chef Russ came back to life.
Dude, I like this Chiefs defense is great, but I don't know. I really don't think this team. I know they're 6-0 and whatever. I don't think they're gonna win the damn Super Bowl.
I said that all year last year. I don't know.
Why is their schedule such cheese, dude? What the fuck? They play the Raiders. I mean, they play the Bucs. And
they play in one of the worst divisions in football.
That is also very true. But yeah, you get the Chargers, the Raiders, and the Broncos twice.
It's like the Eagles. The Eagles, the year they went to the Super Bowl with Foles.
It's like the fucking SEC West with Bama every year, and they just played nothing but
the Big Ten West.
Yeah, they kind of like the Big Ten. Well, I was gonna say SEC West with Bama not really having to play anybody.
It's just the Big Ten West, and it was Iowa or Wisconsin's going to run the table,
right?
And
that Packer dude, Packers, shout out to them, man. They ended up winning in a big game. Jordan Love, dude. Oh my God, CJ Stroud. Yeah, CJ Stroud stunk it up badly. It also doesn't help that they don't have Nico Collins, who's been a really good playmaker for the Texans all year. But,
Nico, he got injured at the most inopportune moment.
Yeah.
And he was on pace to break the all-time receiving record for a season. But I want to go. I want to shout out the Bears for losing the bye week.
Why do you say that?
Because
they dropped.
They dropped to. They're the only 4. If any other division in football, they're the number 1 team in their division. But also Lions, Vikings, they were begging for one of the teams to get blown out, hoping the other one was just not as good as they actually were. Both teams look really good. The Pack finds a way to win. They look really good. And the Bears, they're the 4th best team in a division that all 4 teams would be dominating their division if they were in any other division in football.
Yeah. And I mean, the Commanders will look interesting now with having Jaden Daniels out for a significant amount of time, which really messes with my fantasy team because Tua's been hurt. I had Derek Carr, he got hurt, and then I have Spencer Rattler on my taxi squad because it's a dynasty league. But it looks like I don't know if he's going to be starting anymore. So I'm like, I claimed some waivers on Jameis Winston and Daniel Jones. So
J-Wo!
Yeah, we'll see.
My offensive rookie of the year pick and dark horse in the NFC don't look so hot anymore, but I think I can get a pass because of it's an injury.
Yeah.
I think that's a good excuse.
Who did I pick for my offensive rookie of the year? I forgot.
We'll post that video eventually. You guys get
You know what? We'll post it at the end of the year, and we'll have someone edit to be like, "Oh, fucking dumbass," and do shit like that.
Yeah, we'll spend actually good time editing that video and just make it funny clips.
Yeah, it would be like, all right, well, it's just like be like, this is what they got right and wrong and whatnot.
Yeah, but yeah, I have all hope for all the hope for
God, I can't believe Max Christie's actually playing in an NBA game, dude. He was so terrible at Michigan State.
He wasn't as bad as you think he was.
He's just so, I hate inefficient players so much when it comes to the game of basketball. Like Rocket Watts used to piss me off. Athletic, good ball handler. He turned the ball over too much and had a terrible field goal percentage. Like it bothers me so bad.
It's because the problem with Rocket is we go from Cash at point guard to Rocket at point guard. And Rocket and Cash play the point guard position. You can't play the point guard position any differently than those two play it. Rocket's the fastest guy in the court trying to get to the butt. He plays it more like Hogard if Hogard was actually a good basketball player.
Oh, Hogard. Hey, he's a Vanderbilt. He's going to be a Commodore this year.
That was such a weird. They did their media day and seeing Hogard in a Vanderbilt uniform.
I thought Hogard stunk. So he's like he was good as freshman year. He stunk.
Oh, he's not.
DiVincenzo make it. Yes, sir. Yes,
he's a decent point guard, and on Vandy he'll be good, especially in the SEC. The SEC is not as good as the Big Ten is.
I also don't think it helped that like our bigs just couldn't stretch.
Yeah, that was his biggest problem. Our best our best scorer in the paint were our 1 and 2 guards.
Well, I'm not even saying that. We just also didn't have an outside. We don't like other than Booker, who didn't really play much until late in the season. We didn't really have any stretch bigs, and no one was really an elite shooter last year. Like Aikens at points would be, but
right, like Cohen Carr had to play the 4,
right,
and he is not a 4. He is a stretch 3, and
I wouldn't say stretch 3. He's just a 3.
Well, he's a 3 that doesn't want to shoot.
Yeah, well, that would be the opposite of a stretch 3.
Yeah, you're right. Never mind.
I also never heard the term stretch 3.
I was just trying to think of he's an in between of a 3 and a 4. He's not big enough to be a 4, but he plays the 4.
I think if we had like a Gobert actually no, that's not true. Well, if Booker was like stronger defensively, I think Cohen could play some 4, and we just had really elite. We need Cohen Carr would be a perfect 4 if you had a stretch big that could defend, like a Joel Embiid, like that type of player almost.
Yeah.
Like to kind of make it dumb it down to college version, like a Hunter Dickinson. Like he would fit great alongside a player like that, just being able to run the backdoor lanes, especially against zone defenses too, being able to run that back line back and forth. Okay, this is not a basketball podcast, and we definitely should end it. But I love basketball season, man.
I do think Michigan State's going to miss Malik Hall, though.
Yeah, Malik Hall gave up. I loved Malik Hall as a Spartan.
He was such a – you see that grit on the flag behind him?
Yeah.
Malik Hall would have been Dan Campbell's dude.
Well, dude, he's just a solid 3-level scorer that can put it on the floor and play in a system. Like,
yeah, like
he's not going to be a great pro by any means, but dude, he just got it done.
Yeah, exactly.
He ain't going to be Anthony Davis, baby. I love AD.
Also, never mind. Keep going.
Oh no, what were you going to say?
I forgot the guy's name, so I'm not even going to say it because I don't want to sound like a dumbass.
Who? What are we?
I'm still basketball NBA player that almost went to state but went to Kentucky.
Isaiah Jackson?
No, I can't remember. He's a star, so I think he's on the Nuggets.
Talking about
or the Jazz. I don't remember.
Jamal Murray, Devin Booker.
I just got disconnected. I don't know what just happened. But yeah,
I was saying Jamal Murray, Devin Booker.
Booker, yeah. Can Booker stop pretending to be a Spartan now?
I mean, he's from Grand Rapids. I mean,
yeah, but then you said you grew up wanting to be a Spartan. Why'd you not do it then? I'm sorry you got a bag and then went to the NBA and got another bag. Cry me a river.
He's on one of the. To be fair, he's on one of the best Kentucky teams.
I know, but he now he keeps going back and saying, I love
I don't
Michigan
care.
State. I'm just
How does Max Christie come off the bench and have 5? Dude, he's god awful. Anyways.
All right. We're gonna wrap it up there. Thank you guys so much for listening to the Fourth and Goal podcast / basketball podcast. It's
Really
been so much fun hanging out with you guys.
You know what though? Those viewers that you could stick around for us to just banter at the end and talk about nothing really of substance are gonna love it. I think we should do that. I think we should always spend the last 10 to 15 minutes talking about just, whatever's going on or whatever's on our mind.
I agree.
Wow,
that's a great idea. We'll pitch it to
Candace
Justin.
Parker does commentary since
Yes, you didn't know that?
Since when?
I think
It's kind of
maybe last year. I don't remember.
I've seen her. You know what? Yeah, she definitely. Was she on one of the? She was definitely on.
She did March Madness last year. Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, I'm Andrew.
NBA
That's
legend.
Noah. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll see you guys.
See you guys in the next one. Stay tuned for the preview episode and make sure to we're gonna have a lot of content pushing out on Saturday. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Watch it live. And if you're not able to catch it live because people have lives on Saturday, make sure you guys can go watch it back. We'll have some stuff cut up and it'll be a great time.
Hey, you guys can have a life because we don't.
For the most part. That's actually not true.
No, we just work too hard.
See you guys in the next one.